name is Lisa Shea, and I'm with the Blackstone Valley Art Association. During this Upton Celebration of Art, part of what we're doing is looking at all of the beautiful prints that the Spaightwood Gallery in Upton has, and doing some artwork based on the prints that they have. So one of the artists is named Jim Dine, and he's famous for his hearts. You can see the painting that we did in the first session in the top left, and now we're going to tackle one of his more monochrome, larger heart styles. So what we want to do is, not with the pen first, you want to start with the pencil and draw yourself a nice big heart, because we're going to be filling this full of things. So you can do the heart in any sort of height or width or how fat or thin or whatever you want to do with this heart. So we're going to make it nice and big, and then we're going to trace it with a waterproof marker. And we're using a waterproof marker because we're going to be watercoloring on top of this, and we don't want the watercoloring process to smear the black of the marker around. So any sort of marker that's waterproof will do fine for this sort of stage. And my marker is having a little bit of a problem, but that's all right. We'll get there. We are just having fun and relaxing and exploring. All right, so again, when we talk about Jim Dine, he puts hearts in all sorts of different ways, and a lot of times he just has colors and textures in them, but sometimes he does have shapes. So he has, like I said, the saw in one of his pieces, and then this other piece, they're sort of abstract figure shapes. So he puts into the painting things that make him have connections to what he's drawing. Sometimes they look like little flower shapes. Sometimes they're like little carving shapes. So when you're drawing your heart, think about what makes it special to you. You know, what sorts of things do you think about when you think about the nature of love? So for example, I have the two black cats. So if I was thinking about love, I might put in little cat faces. Alright. I put in my son loves lynxes. So I might put in lynx. Little tufts on its ears. Again, you're just drawing representations. My son's fiancée loves owls, so maybe I'll put an owl in here. Owl feet. Big eyes. No feathers. Alright. Beak. My boyfriend likes tigers. Alright. What else do I think of when I think of love? Suppose I think of birds. I love feeding the birds, and I've had birds for pets for many years. So the things that you'll think of when you think of an idea will be very different from what I think of in anyone else, and that's part of the fun of doing these kinds of projects. Alright, so that's good enough to give you a sense of some sorts of ideas. So then, we've been doing a lot of pinks, but just to show that this isn't all about pink, I'll use a slightly bigger brush, so I'll make sure that this is clean. Always make sure your brushes are clean before they go back. And always put them in brush point up. You don't want to be having this sitting, pushing down on the brush, because that would damage the brush. So when you store them with the brush point up. So, like that is how I store them. So, use one of these. So, just give that a chance to dry so that you don't end up smearing the ink around. Ah, it's still a little wet. That's alright. That shows the nature of love. It's a little messy sometimes, and that's alright. Alright, and what color? Yeah, let's go with the purple. So I made the whole thing wet. Now I'm dropping in purple, and it will sort of swirl and mix the way that it wants to. And different colors mean different things to different people. You know, for some people, purple means royalty. And some people, purple means fantasy. Like unicorns and Pegasus. So it is all up to you what kind of connections that you make between colors and their meaning. And you can put different textures in here. So you can see that while I'm sort of blotting at it with my brush, and then it's giving different texture feels. You can sprinkle salt in here, which makes little starry textures. You can use saran wrap to sort of mush at it, or a sponge to mush at it, and that creates different textures. So for example, let me just put a little more purple while this is still wet. Right, so I got purple in here, and the color is still a little wet. So I'm going to grab a paper towel, which was over here. Oh, there it is. Alright, so I just got some paper towel. Just make a little sort of squishy thing out of it. Right, so I brought up some of the paint, and you can see it makes sort of a texture-y shape. So there's all sorts of different kinds of things you can do. And maybe this is a first layer. So maybe now I've got some symbols of love in there, and I've got some colors. And now I'm going to take the brush and go with a different purple. So that was the Phoenix Violet. I'm going to go with the Royal Langdon Violet, which is just a different shade of violet. And you can see that it's dryish now, so when I'm painting in here, the color is pretty much staying where I'm putting it. I can put a little blotches of this other color. You know, maybe I'm making circle shapes, and maybe you want to make square shapes or triangles.
Yeah, this is your own expression. And the more that you play with it, the more that you say, oh, I like the way that feels, or I don't like the way that feels, let me try again.
Yes, art, all part of the process.
And watercolor is very much about building these layers of shapes and meaning. It's about mixing colors. So up until now I've been choosing straight colors out of the bin of things that had been designed a certain way. But you can also do some color mixing, like I have this color over here that I had played with in the past. Now I could put little dots of that color in. And if I put it into the dry paper, you can see that it pretty much stays where I want it. But if I put it into the wet area, it spreads out and blossoms because the wet water draws it out. And we got all sorts of things going on in here. But right now the drawings I made are sort of separate from all the colors. I made all the colors go around the drawings for whatever reason. That's just what I felt like doing. So what I think I'm going to do is, one of my colors in this pearlescent kit was a white. And normally one does not paint with white in watercolors. Normally one lets the white of the paper shine through. But let us give this shimmer white a try. And part of the fun of watercolors is to just try things, see what happens. Now I have a feeling that this white may be non-see-through, because I think its purpose may be to sit on top of things. So before I go on top of my little shapes and cover them up, which would be contrary to the purpose I had for those shapes, I'm going to try the white in other places first. Let's see what happens if I get it fairly dilute. I don't know if you can see, but it's got this really nice shimmer to it. It's got little sparkles in it. Alright, I think, yeah, so you can see through it. So should be able to just add a shimmer to these creatures, and it will dull it down a little bit because the shimmers are solid objects. That is going to sort of block the shapes, but not fully. So we'll sort of mute them a little, make them a little shimmery, but not hide them, which was my main concern. We'll just add some random shimmers through the rest of our picture. Alright, so see how this has changed a fair amount from our starting concept. But there we go. There's one take on the thought of love. and your concepts will be your own. And that's part of the fun of all of this. How does your concept different from other people's concept, and then how does it change over time? If you do some things this week, and then you look back in a month or 2 months, how is it going to be different at that point? Alright, so this was all inspired by the Spaightwood Gallery in Upton, Massachusetts. They're right at 120 Main Street in Upton. They have all sorts of different artists there to get inspired by. But in particular, we were taking a look at one of their pieces by Jim Dine, who uses hearts as one of his symbols in his artwork. So, have fun drawing hearts of all different shapes and sizes, all different colors. See where the exploration of hearts takes you. Let us know if you have any questions.